ضمن فعاليات النشاط الصيفي نظم مركز القبة السماوية بمكتبة الإسكندرية ورشة عمل تحت عنوان برنامج العمارة.
هي سلسلة حلقات من برنامج عمل العمارة والأطفال، أو بنسميه البيلت انفايرمنت education أو ثقافة البيئة المبنية للأطفال. بتهدف إن هي تعلمهم عن التصميم والتراث والعمارة، وإزاي ممكن يفكروا بطريقة أحسن، لأنه الولاد دول مش بالضرورة يدخلوا كليات عمارة أو تصميم، لكن هم اللي بيعيشوا في البيئة المبنية، هم اللي بيعيشوا في المدن، وهم اللي لازم يحافظوا عليها، وهم اللي لازم ياخدوا قرار ويقفوا قدام أي حاجة ممكن يكون فيها تعدي أو تلوث أو حاجة زي كده.
أنا جاية بشتغل مع دكتور هبة، بنشتغل على الورش الموجودة في المكتبة من السنة اللي فاتت. السنة اللي فاتت كان ليها ثيم معين، السنة دي الثيم مختلف، Sustainable Architecture. الورشة الأولانية هنتكلم عن اليونت الصغيرة اللي هي البيت، كل واحد ازاي ممكن البيت بتاعه يبقى sustainable. بنحاول نوضح فكرة انه sustainability مفهومها عام وشامل، مش بس ليها علاقة بالمواد بس او كده. فبدأنا ان احنا نشتغل معاهم على انه الحياة نفسها انت ممكن تعيش حياة صحية اكتر فتبقى مستدامة اكتر، ازاي بتأثر في حياتك في حياة اللي حواليك.
Hello guys, in this presentation I will shed some lights on practical approaches to introduce the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals to children and youth through B or built environment education. Sustainable thinking implies planting a few everyday concepts and trainings on some practices that would, on the long term, shift the minds of children and families, friends and community towards more sustainable thinking habits, like a lifestyle. The core is always and forever the 3 R's plus U. These are reduce, reuse, recycle, and U is for upcycle. Since the announcement of the UN 17 SDGs in 2015, I was intrigued to help both my children's students as well as my architecture students to understand that good architecture and design of the built environment do fulfill the goals and do help achieve a better quality of life for everyone. This in turn guarantees the well-being and the happiness. For that, I have introduced several elective courses where students of architecture work hand in hand with the children. They learn together about different sustainable development goals and issues with different concentrations for each course. The courses were truly hands-on. There is always a design-build project in a participatory manner between the students of architecture and the children somewhere. And with the help of an NGO that works with less privileged children, there were several design-build projects conducted in a participatory manner, and both the students of architecture and the children's students of B were able to better their lives through edutainment play areas in several community centers all over the city of Cairo. In 2018, the United Nations, together with the International Union of Architects, have published an architectural guide to the UN 17 SDGs, and in 2 volumes. And this has pushed further the possibilities of creating more bee opportunities for children and youth. As previously mentioned, everyday life goals are the easiest to grasp. So shedding light on our daily behaviors and routines towards certain issues, reminding ourselves how our grandparents applied more sustainable approaches to their everyday life. This reveals that sustainable thinking is just a simple logic and a rational thing. This approach also verifies that all goals are related, intertwined, and interlinked, and that goal 11, sustainable cities and communities, can be the umbrella for the rest of the goals. Health and well-being, for example, is related to the everyday habits of sleeping, eating healthy food, drinking clean water, working out, breathing better fresh air, consuming more time in nature, healthier ergonomics for the body, and many nature-related aspects. And so are the rest of the goals. So introducing the goals, we try to involve the kids and reflect on the everyday happenings, and we try to link them to their near environment, their home, their room. This is always the key. And this is the basic story for the goals to start with. So we start by such activities in that specific order: introduction of terminologies, discussion of the concepts, giving examples. We ask the children to design or produce something that is related, and we upload the fastest, the most diverse, the one that has covered more topics, whatever, the one that has exerted more effort. In the end, all the kids should be uploaded. Then we ask them for suggestions for small design interventions in their near environment, be it their home, be it their class, be it their bedroom, be it the kitchen, whatever, that can help better this near environment. Taking baby steps every half an hour. By the end of the day, I ensure you that the horizon expands. When we are introducing the sustainable development goals for younger children, the early childhood, the KG, there is always the pop culture, the variety of the building typologies in the different regions, in the different in the case of Egypt, it's the regions that Bedouin, coastal, agricultural, oasis, the old districts, the modern districts, and some fictional characters, some cartoonish figures, some jokes and dances and singing along are all approaches to ease the kids. So they totally surrender to what they are hearing, and those typologies of the houses are discussed, the building material, the microclimate, the sources of water, what do they eat, and an aspect of every goal. Always associate your activities with a drawing or a modeling or a design activity. Higher kids or for the middle childhood kids, it's very easy to link the goals with the school lessons, geography, history, math, civic studies, languages. It facilitates the schooling, and the putting lessons in design and build activities actually does lead to change, as you'll see in the coming example. In this example, there is this community school, remote, underprivileged, poor circumstances. The architects convinced the school and the families and the community to participate in sustainable development goals workshops, and to put the problems of the school on the table, and through sustainable thinking, how can those problems be approached and actually solved. And yes, they were able to solve the problem of water scarcity with good, clean water. Also, through the waste management, they were able to upcycle and design and build in a participatory process as well. The play areas, the edutainment play areas for the kids in the school. And several other problems were solved in a truly honest participatory process. This process of school development through introducing sustainable development goals in actual bee practices, hands-on real-life actual bee practices, is repeated in several parts of Egypt. There are also examples for the children and family participation activities pertaining or tackling several important topics like climate action, for example. This is an example for a 3-day workshop. Kids from 13 years old till 18 or plus, families are always invited. It concentrated on the impact of climatic change on our everyday life and health and well-being, and how architecture and the design of the built environment can help resolve and control the climate change problems. The final day of the workshop, there was this huge street graffiti logo design that is an awareness campaign in itself for one of the historic communities in historic Cairo. It was fun and it was very interesting, very exciting for everyone. Now let me take you to this example for 3 consecutive summer camps at the Biblioteca Alexandrina, hosted by the Planetarium Science Center. Students of architecture and fresh graduates are always the trainers. It works better. The courses were designed for young adults between 12 and 16 years of age. Along the 3 courses, familiarizing the kids with terminologies, testing their understanding is always through storytelling about 3 different characters that have their daily routines, and the kids are to judge whether the routines are sustainable or not. This is followed by a small competition to categorize their home consumption of material, what can be reduced, what can be reused, and what can be recycled. In addition, they develop flyers for a campaign for the cause to aware their families and friends. And the campaigns also tackle some alternative solutions for climatic conditions, to better the climatic conditions in their homes in Alexandria. Humidity, for example, is a problem that has to be solved. And for that, they introduced some biophilic responses that are healthier for the body, mind, and soul. One more topic on their list was the renewable clean energy. And this was followed by a participatory design exercise, again for 3 different affiliations, through which the kids have to prioritize the needs in tandem with the SDGs. Best lifestyle scenarios for the houses are designed through an actual design process, true and honest, typical like any design studio in any school of architecture. And the outcomes are 3D models. Moving to the second camp, which is a little bigger in concept and in size. A special treasure hunt is designed for the kids to find sustainable evidences and clues to identify the award-winning green projects from all over the world. My inspired team of trainers also designed a board game that teaches children about sustainable buildings and materials, building techniques, craftsmanship, transportation. It's يعني like a sustainable site management game. Then again, a participatory design exercise is conducted and more goals are tackled and covered. On the urban level, my trainers team designed several urban surveys, urban mapping, urban observation tools related to the trilogy of the who lives where, doing what, or the user group, behavioral setting and user group, physical setting and behavioral patterns that are inspired by Jan Gale and Gary Moore to help the kids identify the culture of where they live. And then it's followed by another exercise of mental mapping, also inspired and based on Kevin Lynch's image of the city and John Zeisel's inquiry by design. In the discussion, the kids are able on their own to point out some urban problems in their city, like tourism, heritage, life underwater, cultural identity, transportation, and pollution, and rank them. Then they choose real sites where they live, or it depends on their ease of accessibility, because they do visit the sites, take photos, do surveys, observe, map, engage the community, engage their parents, try to solve the most dominant problems in each neighborhood in a strategic, sustainable manner. Finally, they present their works to pedagogues and decision makers, as well as their family and friends. More goals are covered, of course. The inventories, the questionnaires, the interviews that are regularly conducted by the end of every camp prove and reveal that there are several added values to introducing the sustainable development goals in that manner or in that approach. First, it's the healthy lifestyle approach. It has proved to be really successful for the middle childhood and the higher childhood, and it goes from the kids to their families and their friends as a word of mouth. We wish that they adopt such a healthy life approach forever. With respect to the concept of sustainability and the subject matter of the goals, they can easily be tackled in the everyday life, family practices as a way of life. And the pedagogic outcome and feedback of such projects enrich talks about the creative education via architecture and architecture education in general for both the children and for the students of architecture. It also affirms actually that built environment education in relation to sustainable development goals can be taught out of the school campus, out of the school borders, out of classes, out of the university borders, and it can be a social happening and a family happening. As for the context or the location of the projects or the sites chosen by the kids, in this case, it was Alexandria. This has directed the kids' attention and put their hands actually on some local tangible and intangible heritage and cultural identity issues. Gaming, solving riddles, role-playing, storytelling, and the simulation of the participatory design process make both the trainers and the kids more engaged in an atmosphere of fun and humor, and proves that B is always fun. The design of the board games, the board sheets, the tools, the Monopoly, the architect's Monopoly, the urban autobus complet, cool challenge in itself, and it paves the way ahead of designing other diverse tools and techniques that can be used in different B classes and practices. Having the students of architecture as trainers is indeed a valuable, powerful, real life training of trainers experience. This helps a lot, and in teaching they learn, and in learning they teach, and it's a happy thing.
My name is Yahya Hani. I am 14 years old. I have attended a lot of workshops. At first, I would like to say that how architects are important in our lives. They don't just design buildings only, but they make people happy by seeing the building from the outside or the inside. I also learned what's meant by the green architecture. At first, I thought it was just adding some plants in the area, but when I learned what's meant by green architecture, I knew that green architecture is using materials that are surround the area you want to build in to make a healthy matching building to the surrounding area. And also, when we were kids and our parents gave us a paper and a pencil and asked us to draw a house, we usually drew it with a triangle shaped roof. But when I learned, I knew that a triangle shaped roof is not suitable for our country. A triangle shaped roof is used in the countries that are known for being rainy or snowy. So if rainwater pulls down, it slides off the roofs of the buildings. And also when I went to a workshop talking about the architect Hassan Fathi, I knew how he used the shape of the dome on the top of his building designs, because the shape of the dome reflects the sun rays to help us in consumption of the electricity. I saw how our ancestors made their walls so thick in their homes to separate between the temperature inside the house and outside the house. And also, there was a part in the house that feels like you are outside the house, which is called fina, which is a part that the children could play in it, and also helps in the air circulation in the house. At the end, I would like to say that I've learned a lot of these workshops, and there is still more. And thank you.
I hope the presentation was useful, resourceful, and inspiring. And thank you.